What's up, wrestling fans? This is Rich, the Ratman Former with the Rats Wrestling Report. First of all, I want to start off by plugging the groups, of course. Talking about pro wrestling and indie to TNA. Two of the best groups on Facebook, two of the greatest groups on Facebook. Check us out. Send us requests. We'll add you. Everything you want to know about wrestling, everything you want to talk about wrestling, we do this stuff all day. It's not just hours, it's days. We start at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, we get up, talk about wrestling, and 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, talk about wrestling. It's not quite like that, but you get the idea. All day, nothing but wrestling. We discussed Monday Night Raw last night. It was okay. I'll give it a 7, maybe a 6. Watched it actually today. I missed it last night, but I caught it up today. Started out with Stephanie coming out and doing her thing. You hear a lot of CM Punk chants. I miss CM Punk. Everybody misses CM Punk, but you know what? He's doing his own thing, and he'll come back or he won't come back. Don't hate on him. Don't hate on CM Punk. You work your job, you don't like your job's screwing you over, you leave it. Plain and simple. That's it. I respect the guy for that. I've left jobs for the same reason. So here we go. She says for over 50 years, it's been in WWE, has been in her family, but it's actually been like 62 years. But, you know, Randy Orton says he's going to come out and beat everybody up. Batista says he's going to come out and beat everybody up. Daniel Bryan's on injured list. And, you know, you got a lot of the crowd is chanting CM Punk still. And I noticed a few things, you know, Randy Orton is, he come out with both belts, but Big Gold is covered up with the new WWE belt. I'm not going to say anything bad about the new WWE belt. It's better than that spinner that we had. It was kind of dumb. That's it. I don't know any fancy word for it. It's just dumb. But the new belt is okay. Kind of got the feeling about the world title that the Big Gold is going to become a thing of the past. And that's fine. New era, new whatever. Speaking of new era, Triple H talked about a reality era. Let's hope it's got to be better in the PG era, right? So anyway, Stephanie bitch slaps Batista. Randy Orton got a good kick out of it. He speared him. Knocked Randy Orton right down. And Batista ripped his pants. I was actually impressed that Batista didn't wear AJ Lee's pants tonight. He wore a pair of pants that might have belonged to Randy Orton, John Cena, but they fit him anyway. But when he did that spear, he ripped them. So they really didn't. They didn't fit him that well. Let's put it that way. He ripped them. You know. Raw was number 1 on cable television last night. That was a bonus for them. Number 1 contender match for the Intercontinental title main event. Dolph Ziggler versus ADR, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, and Christian. And let's just cover this for a second. You notice that every one of them, all 4 of them, held World Heavyweight titles before in their past. To be honest with you, with the exception of potential Daniel Bryan being in the main event at WrestleMania, I think I would rather see those 4 in the main event for WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight title than Randy Orton and Batista. Even Triple H. And in the day, I was a big Triple H fan. He was the game. But count them all. Alberto Del Rio held 5 World Heavyweight titles from between the CMLL WWE and 2 WWEs, which, World Heavyweight title was one of them. Ziggler held 2 WWE World Heavyweight Championships. Christian won TNA titles and WWE titles, and he won tonight by pinfall on Ziggler. So the Wyatt's cut a promo. That was awesome as always. Big fan of the Wyatts. Huge fan of the Wyatts, actually. They, if you were to take the Ministry of the Attitude Era and had it now, or had the Wyatts then, perfect spot for them would be with the Ministry. Their hillbilly backwoods wrong turn kind of thing that they have going is awesome for me. It gives me goosebumps even talking about it. My wife likes it. The kids like it. Really big. Scooby-Doo came out. That was cool. Kind of reminded me of Rockin' Wrestling, but it is what it is. He came out with Sin Cara. Sin Cara with the Yellow Light Wrestling match. Jobbed out to it was versus Damien Sandow, and Damien Sandow again jobbed out. I don't know what they're doing with these guys. Ziggler kind of jobs out to people anymore. ADR does. Damien Sandow does. And a few other ones they job. Fandisco. Kind of reminds me of Disco Inferno back in the old WCW days. He jobs out a lot also. It is what it is. It kind of reminds me of, with Scooby-Doo, and that kind of reminds me of the Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling from the 80s. They're doing some other thing with the guys, little action figure guys. They get fired from WWE and they have to work actual jobs. And of course, again, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, but this is a PG era. I guess they're heading in the right direction for the younger audience. So you got to commend them on that. Whether you like it or not, they're doing it, and they're going to get a lot of hype out of it. So a lot of good things are going to come from that. I'm probably not going to check it out. I might let the kids watch it. Will I buy a copy? No. Might wait for it to come out on Netflix or Hulu, or I might even download it. I don't know. But it is what it is. They did a cut scene from the Shield getting beat down, and it's funny because it took 9 guys on SmackDown to destroy the Shield. And they got right back up, and they stood out in the ring, and they came back, and they took out Ryback last night. Took him out, beat the snot out of him. Did some damage. That was pretty funny. And then they had Rick in-ring sit down with Triple H, Michael Cole, and Triple H. Michael Cole is he's a poster boy for the PG era. I'm sorry. I have to say it. Triple H, as I said earlier, Triple H talked about the reality era. The reality is Daniel Bryan will not headline WrestleMania. The reality is the Yes Movement is over. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, come on. Yes! 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 The Yes Movement is everywhere. You're not going to stop it. I've gone to an indie show last weekend, a few weeks ago, and it was Daniel Bryan came across the video screen and everybody chanted yes. It was short-lived, but the point is, I went to an ROH show, I heard yes chant. I turn on ROH, I hear yes show. I turn on TNA, I hear the yes chant. Good Morning America will even chant yes. It's everywhere. You're not gonna destroy it. You're not gonna stop it. Van Disco, Van Dongo versus Cody Rhodes, and jobbed out to him, of course. Summer looked like she sprained her ankle there. Goldust come up, did his little dance with her. That was pretty funny. I got a good kick out of that. And it was funny. It was funny. Hulk Hogan, Joe, whatever his name is, and Arnold Schwarzenegger came out. They cut a promo, and The Miz came out. They tried to run his mouth, and all three of them got a piece of him. Hogan threw him over the top rope. So that's how it's going to go. Titus O'Neil jobbed out to the Big Show, of course. This guy leaves his partner and hasn't won a match since. It's like Fan Disco. Fan Disco, he went against Chris Jericho last year at WrestleMania. This is his debut, and now he's jobbing. I think they're wasting money on talent. Whether you like Titus O'Neil or not, he hasn't won a match since he's been single. No, he hasn't won a match since he's been single. So, it is what it is. Shield confronted Triple H, and Stephanie made a match between them and the Real Americans. And they did a number on... It was a good match. It was a really good match. Shield showed their unity at the end and completely destroyed the Real Americans. Put Antonio Cesaro through the announce table. That was great. I'm a big Cesaro fan. Was a big fan of him in ROH, and huge fan of him now. He does that big swing. He did 20 revolutions, and it was good. It was good. Dean Ambrose showed that he's the loose cannon of the group, of course, as always. But they beat on him, and the Shield won. It was a good one. Cena acts all nervous in the back before coming out to face Luke Harper, who he beat on SmackDown Friday. He come back out, did it again. But that was a pretty good match. It looked like Luke Harper had John Cena's number, and Luke Harper really put on a good show. I was impressed with Luke Harper, and the "Let's go Harper, Cena sucks chance. Every time John Cena got the upper hand, came out with a good move, the crowd booed him. I've said this before. John Cena as a heel, they're not going to make him a heel because he does so much for kids and for the public, and he cares a lot about his fans. Enough so that where he's going to do what he's going to do, and take on the big names and work hurt. He's not really ever hurt. He does it just to show his fans that he's loyal to them, even though they really don't like him. He's dry. Whatever. He's a big name. I'm not going to take away his big name. I'm not going to take away the fact that people actually love him. And my neighbor, who is not a wrestling fan, I asked him, name one guy, as a non-wrestling fan, name one guy who sticks out in your head first. He said John Cena. Without even thinking about it. And that's bigger than even Hulk Hogan, which I expected him to say Hulk Hogan. So it could go either way. You got Hulk Hogan's big name, John Cena's big name, and that's all there is to that. Wyatt's ended up tying Cena in the rope and beating him down, and when the lights were out, put him in the ropes and put the lamb mask on his face, and the crowd again. This is awesome. This is awesome. We have a chance to fill the take out John Cena and let the Yes Movement run wild, as Hulk Hogan would say. That was good. You know, Naomi versus AJ Lee. And it was a Divas title match. She actually defended it on Raw. That doesn't happen very often. AJ Lee has really come into her own. Some of my people are going to watch this. They're going to say, hey, you finally admitted it. But yeah, AJ Lee has finally come into her own. The fact that Naomi still has her eye patch on is kind of funny. Oksana, for those who don't know, Oksana busted her orbital bone in her eye during a match. Kneed her in the face. I haven't even seen Oksana since then, until after the match. AJ Lee actually ran out of the ring and took the count out, because who's going to win over a count out? Nobody wins. AJ lost, but she kept her title. So there's nothing. It's only pinfall or submission, and if you're going to get it by a count out, you're going to win the match. It's a win. Go into the books as a win, but it's not a title. So AJ Lee kind of pumped out on that one and chickened out and left the ring. It is what it is. Vicky came out with a hell of a cackle. Hell of a cackle at the end, but she said that at WrestleMania, the Divas title will be up in defense against AJ Lee versus all the Divas. Versus all the Divas. And really, you don't even have to be a champion in a match like that is rough, because you don't even have to be pinned to lose a title, which kind of sucks, but you know what? That makes it more interesting. With all those Divas out there, it could drag on for a while. At least I'm hoping it's going to drag on for a while. There's always a potential of somebody getting pinned, but there's always a potential of somebody stopping that pin and the match continuing. It could go 30, 40 minutes before we actually get a winner. With all the divas in WWE are going to be involved, including Tamina. With them all, I would rather see Tamina Snuka or Natalia Neidhart win. One of those win the title. They both deserve it. They both work hard, not just because they're second-generation wrestlers or third-generation wrestlers, just for the fact that they actually wrestle. They actually throw down. Like Beth Phoenix actually threw down. Lita actually threw down. Trish Stratus actually threw down. It wasn't like an evening gown match, which really the rest of the Divas, they deserve to have that kind of a match. Really, they're not that good. I don't care. They're hot. They're good looking. Oksana's really good in the ring. AJ Lee has come into her own, but really the Bellas, zero talent. That Ava, zero talent. Summer Rae she's talented. She's fresh out of the NXT, as well as I can't think of her name. She's in there. She's really good too. Her and Summer Rae have actually destroyed each other in NXT. Really impressive matches between those two. But I've got to say, that cackle from Vicky Guerrero, that sent chills down my skin. I can't get over it. Shields versus, and then Shield versus the Real Americans. That was good. We talked about that. Kane announced the New Age Outlaws and himself versus the Shield at WrestleMania. That should be good. The Old Age Outlaws and Kane versus the Young Bloods, the Shield. The Shield, it seemed to be working together really well since they had their little spat. They almost all got divorced, but they seem to be sticking together. I believe in the Shield, and I follow the Buzzards. There you go. And the show ended with Paul Heyman coming out with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar! And they, Brock Lesnar, it's been a while since I've heard his voice, because Paul Heyman always does the promoting for him. But he grabbed the mic and said, I'm not promoting. I'm here to fight. Kind of sounded like he had my voice. A little boy's voice, Come out here and fight me. It wasn't quite like that, but I got a comical kick out of it. I'm not taking away from Brock Lesnar's abilities in the ring, because when he was a UFC fighter, he's got the scars to prove it. And if it wasn't for diverticulitis, he would still be in there, and he'd still be kicking ass, and he'd still be winning titles. Why isn't he in the world title picture? I'm thinking it's the diverticulitis. I have it. It really puts a hindering on a lot of things, mostly your diet. For being the guy that he is, his diet obviously is crappy. I'm sure he's changed it around by now. But classic Undertaker comes out with the Druids. They bring down a casket or a coffin out to the ring, set it up, and back off. The music's going. The Druids' music is going. Brock Lesnar, got under his skin. Ultimate mind games from The Undertaker. Undertaker is famous for the mind games. He's infamous with the mind games. He's done it every year. The only, honestly, the only one that I think has gotten the best of him in the mind games was CM Punk last year with the urn, where he took the urn and he dropped the urn, and he made a big mockery over Paul Bearer. May he rest in peace. Made a mockery over Paul Bearer's death. I'm a sick and twisted kind of person, and I thought that was funny. But as a true fan of professional wrestling, I was also a little insulted by it, just because, hey man, the guy died. But at the same time, listen, this is sports entertainment. This is WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. And what CM Punk did was entertainment. It entertained me. I laughed. But insulted at the same time. So there you go. Hate me or not, I'm still going to do this. So, Brock Lesnar stomped on the coffin a few times, and nothing happened. He even opened it up. And then he was like, oh, I'm big and I'm bad. And then he closed it, opened it back up, and Undertaker was laying there. Laying there like the dead man that he is. And he kicked the shit out of Brock Lesnar. We'll see how WrestleMania goes. I want to see 22-0 this year. And then Undertaker needs to go after that. Respect the man. Huge fan. All through his career, from day one. Mean Mark Callis. Huge fan. Back in the NWA, WCW. Did Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan. Actually, he looked like a mean guy in that movie, and then he was like, I'm gonna kill you. That was his voice. So that's kind of where I got that voice from Brock Lesnar. But anyway, show ended. Undertaker rolled his eyes in the back of his head, stuck his tongue out. Rest in peace. He didn't say that, but I had to say it. So that was it. Send your comments below. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. Talking about pro wrestling. You're not going to find a better group. 2 groups. Indie 2. TNA number 2. You're not going to find any 2 groups on Facebook. So subscribe below down there to my YouTube channel. And check us out on Facebook. Talking about pro wrestling and Indy 2 TNA 2 number 2 Indy INDY number 2 TNA. Thank you.